Scroll, compare. Sounds familiar? We've all been there, trapped in a cycle where everyone else's life looks like a blockbuster and ours feels like a sideshow. But here's a thought that might stop you mid-scroll. The more we compare, the less we are. It's an idea that deeply resonates with what Friedrich Nietzsche had in mind, that constantly measuring ourselves against others only dims our own light. Let's unravel this identity paradox together and find out how to shine on our own terms. Let's get real for a minute. Picture this. It's late at night, you're scrolling through your phone, and there it is, a friend's post about their latest adventure or success. And bam, that feeling hits you. Why not me? It's like you're punched in the gut with envy, right? I've been right there in the trenches with you. My own experiences turned into mere shadows when stacked against the bright, shiny lives I saw online. I'd see vacation photos from places I'd never been or achievements I hadn't reached and think, what am I doing wrong? This comparison game we play, it's like quicksand. The more we struggle with it, the deeper we sink. It's exhausting, feeling like you're always a few steps behind, always playing catch up to an ideal that seems just out of reach. But here's what I learned. This game, it's winnable. The secret? Changing the game entirely. It dawned on me one day, after a particularly brutal bout of comparisonitis, that maybe the issue wasn't with my life or what I was or wasn't doing. Maybe it was how I was measuring my worth. I was using someone else's yardstick to measure my success, my happiness, my worth. So I tried something radical. I took a step back. I asked myself, what actually makes me happy? What am I proud of in my own life? And not through the lens of social media or anyone else's expectations, but through my own. It wasn't an overnight transformation, but slowly the fog of comparison began to lift. I started appreciating my own journey with its unique ups and downs. I celebrated small victories like finishing a project or just having a really good day. And I began to realize that life isn't a competition. It's a personal journey. And the only person I need to measure up to is the person I was yesterday. This shift didn't just change how I viewed others. It fundamentally changed how I saw myself. I wasn't in anyone's shadow anymore. I was walking my path, lit by my own achievements, no matter how small they might seem. And that's the key to beating the trap of endless comparison. Recognizing that our worth isn't found in how we stack up to others, but in how we grow, change, and find joy in our own lives. Nietzsche's take on life? It's like he handed us a pair of glasses that cut through the fog of comparison. He never directly mentioned the identity paradox, but his ideas, they're a roadmap for navigating it. He urged us to carve our own paths, to live lives that are unmistakably ours, not shadows of someone else's highlights. Here's a slice of my life to illustrate this. I decided to experiment, to live a day entirely on my terms. No social media, no checking what everyone else was up to, just me and my choices. Breakfast was simple, enjoyed slowly. I took a different route on my morning walk, noticing things I usually sped past. The tasks I chose were ones that mattered to me, not because they'd look impressive in a status update. And you know what? It was like stepping out of a funhouse mirror maze where every reflection distorts. This break from the online world, from the endless cycle of comparison, it was like a deep breath for my soul. Suddenly, I wasn't living for the gram or anyone's approval. I was just living. The peace that came with this authenticity was a game changer. Nietzsche's philosophy became my anchor, reminding me that authenticity trumps accolades, that real life happens away from the like button. The clarity didn't come all at once, but it began to seep through the cracks of my carefully curated online persona. The more I embraced my path, the more I realized that the only approval I needed was my own. Nietzsche's wisdom pushed me to question, to dig deeper than societal expectations, and find what truly made me tick. So what's the big takeaway from a day unplugged and a deep dive into Nietzsche's thoughts? It's that living authentically, forging a path that's genuinely yours, is liberating. It's about shaking off the chains of comparison and stepping into a space where you define what success, happiness, and fulfillment look like. And let me tell you, the view from here, it's pretty incredible. Now, let's talk about getting back to what's real, our own stories. You see, beating this identity paradox isn't about just stopping the comparisons. It's more like rewriting the rules of the game to play in our favor. Here's the strategy. Ever notice how we cheer on everyone else's victories but brush off our own? It's time to flip that script. I started keeping a journal, not for to-dos, but for victories. Big, small, somewhere in between. It all went in. A good conversation, a workout I didn't skip, a project finished. Celebrating these not only boosted my mood, but also painted a picture of progress, of a life that's uniquely mine, lived day by day. It's easy to glance at someone else's highlight reel and feel like your own life doesn't stack up. But here's the thing. Your journey, with its highs and lows, is unmatched. I had to learn to see the value in my own experiences, to understand that growth, my growth, was the real measure of success. It's not about where you are compared to anyone else. It's about how far you've come and where you're heading on your terms. This one hit home for me. In a world glued to screens, I craved something real. So I actually reached out, to friends and family for no reason, coffee dates, walks, dinners, face-to-face, no distractions. These interactions, simple yet profound, reminded me of the texture and depth missing from online exchanges. They grounded me, reminded me of the value of my own life, my own story, beyond any digital facade. Taking these steps wasn't just about dodging the pitfalls of comparison. It was about reclaiming my narrative, about seeing the richness of my own life unfold in real time. It's a process, sure, but one that brings us closer to the authenticity Nietzsche nudged us toward. It's about recognizing our worth, celebrating our path, and connecting deeply, truly with the world around us. Here we are, at a pivotal point in our journey, embracing change and growth. This is where we break free from the identity paradox for good. It's about seeing that our evolution, our personal growth, is what truly defines us, not how we stack up next to someone else's highlight reel. I started setting goals for myself, but not the kind you'd find on a typical success checklist. These were goals that resonated with me, that matched my values and dreams. It could be something as simple as reading more books that challenge my thinking, or as big as starting a project I'd been putting off. The key? These goals were mine, born from my aspirations, not someone else's expectations. It's about carving out your lane in this world and owning it. New experiences are like oxygen for growth. I pushed myself to try things I'd normally shy away from. Yes, it was uncomfortable. Yes, it was challenging. But in that discomfort, in those challenges, I discovered aspects of myself I never knew existed. Whether it was learning a new skill, traveling to unfamiliar places, or just saying yes to something I'd typically avoid, each new experience added a layer to my identity, distinct and vibrant. Every struggle, every hurdle has the potential to teach us something valuable. Instead of dodging difficulties, I learned to face them head on. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks. There were days I wanted to throw in the towel. But with each challenge I faced, I grew. I became more resilient, more confident in my ability to navigate life's ups and downs. This growth, this resilience, it's something no amount of likes or follows could give me. It's earned through and through. As we embrace change and commit to personal growth, we find that our true identity, our most authentic self, comes to light. It's a journey of becoming, of shedding the weight of comparison, and stepping into the fullness of who we are meant to be. Let's keep moving forward, growing through what we go through, and celebrating every step of this incredible journey. So, here we are, at the end of this path, but just at the beginning of a whole new journey. Breaking free from the identity paradox isn't about a grand finale. It's about the steps we take every day towards being truer to ourselves. It's realizing that the most meaningful comparison is not against others' achievements or lifestyles, but against who we were yesterday. Nietzsche threw down the gauntlet on living authentically, and it's a call we can answer by embracing our unique stories. By doing so, we're not just living, we're thriving in a narrative that's ours alone. This journey teaches us to cherish our individuality, to celebrate our growth, and to foster connections that uplift rather than undermine who we are. As we move forward, let's carry this torch of authenticity, lighting our own way with confidence and joy. The shadows of comparison will always be there, but now we know how to step beyond them into the light of our true selves.